TitleMatchNetwork.com.
For your first time ever in the Sportatorium where you were actually a ringside with the Von Erichs, when they came out, was it really as magical as... If you were never there, it's even hard to describe, isn't it?
It's just unbelievable. That was, I'm jumping ahead comparing it to the Hogan. The first time I remember staying in the ring with The Undertaker when Hogan made his entrance. It was like that in Dallas when the Von Erichs were gods. They could walk on water. Unfortunately, they started believing too much of the press, and they believed that they could walk on water, and unfortunately, they all sank. But the Sportatorium years were, wow, I just don't know where to start. I hope you got some questions there, because it was 6 long years there, and through the death of those guys. And I had watched World Class on television for a long time before we went there.
Did you, when you came in, was Gino still there?
Yes. Gino was still there. I was there when the first death that I experienced in World Class was Gino Hernandez. Michael Hayes was at my apartment that night. My wife cooked dinner for us. We was having dinner. We just finished dinner and sat down. And phone rang, and it was the news that they just found Gino dead in his apartment. But we got to spend not a lot of time with Gino. We were on, we'd see each other in the dressing room. It was no formal, we weren't buddies, but we were friends, acquaintances. And I remember the last time I saw him was the day that the space shuttle Challenger blew up. It was payday. We all all the rest of us show up at the Sportatorium to get their checks. I remember pulling up at the Sportatorium. He pulled up right beside me in one of his Vets, a beautiful red Vet that he drove. And we got out. When we stepped inside the door, they had a TV there in the office, in Bronco Lubitsch's office there, and the bulletin came on. The space shuttle had just exploded. So I remember that was and he died just shortly right after that time, just a matter of days. And that was the last time that I saw Gino, and I'll never forget that last moment I saw him. But what a fantastic talent. Because I remember watching him for years when he teamed with Tully Blanchard back in the
Southwest.
Yeah, in the Southwest. I went to college in San Antonio. And so, of course, I went to the wrestling matches there too. Always, it was always wrestling. So I was going to college. I went to the matches there in San Antonio. So I got to watch, Tully Blanchard and the Southwest guys and Gino. And so what a fantastic talent he was. And
he wasn't a gimmick. That was all shoot, wasn't it?
Yeah, pretty much so. He lived his gimmick, and I guess he died the gimmick too.
A lot of people say, from the interviews, no proof, but they think that there was foul play involved with that.
I don't think so.
No? Okay. But who was a couple guys? A lot of Jack Richard, a lot of those, they heard that.
I don't think so, because I know the guys that found his body. David Manning and Rick Hasher found the body, and he was laying on the floor of his bedroom and had a glass of orange juice in one hand, and he was in his underwear, he just got up to go get him something to drink, and that was it. And at that time, and this is a fact, at that particular time, when his body was autopsied in Dallas County there was more cocaine in his body than anybody that had ever done an autopsy on in history there. He was just saturated in cocaine.
When
it blew up.
When you first went to World Class, you hear about what happened with David and everything like that. Were you a little wary coming in, about Fritz, about the boys, about what was going on, or you?
No, I wasn't worried at all. I was just excited about being there. Because it was World Class was the thing then.
Right.
That was before the WWF came, nationwide. So we were just tickled as shit to be there.
Before I get into Fritz Von Erich, I'm going to ask you some stuff about him.
I guess 88 was when it got bad, and then it came back kind of. Remember, it came back for 6 months and everything.
Yeah.
I think they did the heart attack angle and everything.
Right.
Do you think that was pretty bad for business?
No,
it was good for business at the time, but do you think it was?
I remember that vividly because I was on that heart attack card when and none of us were smart to that. They didn't smart enough. We didn't know that was going to happen.
Right.
And on a side note, what was kind of funny there, Fritz had the heart attack and they brought the ambulance in to Reunion Arena to take him to the hospital and shit. Kerry's in the main event, first of all. Poor old Carrie. Sometimes he would really, have some Kerry moments, where he would just forget things and shit, and he got in the ambulance and went to the hospital with his daddy. He was in the main event. Every one of those fans in the Union Arena sat and waited for him to come back from the hospital to do that main event. Nobody got up on that. He wasn't supposed to leave the building.
Yeah.
He wasn't supposed to go with his daddy.
I think he wrestled Al Perez.
I don't know. I don't know. It was just a happening.
Yeah.
You know, he ended up in the ambulance and off he went to the hospital, the Baylor University Hospital. But everybody stayed, you know, and waited for Carrie.
Wow.
I don't know. It was 6 years I spent there.
Is there anybody in that territory that you thought would make it that never made it? Besides Jeff Gaylord.
Yeah, that's I don't. I had some bad experiences. Right after I quit with the WWF full time, I started venturing on the internet, and I'd read all there's Jeff Gaylord jokes, you know, on the message boards and stuff, you know. And I don't know. I really don't know where it came from. Now that I think back, he was horrible. I don't think he was as horrible as the reputation he's getting. But as far as somebody that should have made it, you know, should have made it and didn't.
What happened with Jeep Swenson? He came in, left. Were you there? You were there.
Yeah,
right?
I was there for that too, and it was during the Brody regime.
Right.
And Frank had a reputation of beating those big boys up, and he did the same with Jeep Swenson. He'd beat him up, and off they'd go. First one.
I think like the fans look at it, but like some of the workers have said that like what the fans wouldn't know is like it all started with outside of Dallas, the Von Erichs would not even show up to anything.
Well, yeah, I would think that it started with the death. And David had passed away the year before Rick and I came in. I think Rick and I started, if I'm not mistaken, on the second Texas Stadium Special Memorial that they had there. But then that's when Mike died, and the publicity was just everywhere. Everywhere you turn, he was missing for several days. And
I think that was the third one. The second one was the 2-ring, I think.
Yes.
With the 12-man.
Right.
They broke the car windows.
So it was the third one. We started at the third one. But when Mike passed away, and they started, you know, the deaths and the bad publicity and the DUIs and the 14 prescriptions and the endless horrible stories of the Von Erich family. You know, the people started to see, wow, you know, maybe these aren't the guys I want my kids watching, or maybe these aren't the role models I want my kids to have.
I was going to ask you how out of control they were.
Totally, at times. I had my best. Kerry, I was closer to Carrie than any of them. I think mainly because I followed Carrie to the WWF right after he did. He just started right before I did, and I was right behind him, and I was still living in Dallas. So when we would go on the road for events, we'd travel together. I mean, we'd fly in and out of Dallas on the same planes all the time. So we'd leave home, come home, back together all the time. We'd come off the plane there. His wife would be with his little girls, and my wife with my boys, and his daddy coming home from work. You know, just like any other job. But so I was really, really tight with Carrie, and I probably miss Carrie. I miss Carrie more than any of them. Even though I do miss them all. Carrie had such a big heart. I've seen him so many times that he'd see a child in a wheelchair, on crutches, a crippled child, disabled child, and he never would pass them by. You know, he always stopped. The Shriner, the Shrine organization, they have a saying that a man never stands so tall until he bends over to help a child. And I used to see Kerry bend over and help children all the time. He would give you the shirt off his back. And what a big heart he had. And then unfortunately he took a gun and blew that heart out of his back. And he told me, he said, Percy, when all the trouble went down with the prescription stuff, and he thought he was going to go to jail. He said, Percy, I'll never go to jail. You know, I didn't think that then, you know, how you're going to keep from doing it. But we all know how he kept from going to jail. He didn't go to jail. And as a matter of fact, today's Friday, the 18th, tomorrow, Saturday, the 18th of February, Kerry Von Erich died.
Wow.
In 1993. So what's that, 13 years ago tomorrow? Here in about 15 minutes, Carrie will be dead. 13 years. And I'll never forget where I was when I heard he was dead. Indianapolis, Indiana. We were all in the dressing room. And on a WWF show, Jeff Jarrett comes in and goes, "Man, Daddy just called. Carrie's dead." But here we go again. This you go up and down. These are the guys that I work with. The fan here. I hate to get off of the smart mark thing and stuff like that because the business has changed so much. But if you just can suspend your belief again, and I guess it's the nature of the beast. It's 2006. It ain't 1976 anymore. We have the internet and everything, and it's now. I guess if we had it back then, I probably would have done the same thing, and maybe turned out to be the kind of fan that we have today. But all I had back then was the Appomattox. We didn't know what was going on anywhere. But now you got the internet, you know everything. But I didn't want to know how they saw the lady in half, or how Houdini got out of the trunk and stuff.
Right.
It was kind of when I watch a movie on TV, I don't want to know the finish. I want to watch it and enjoy it. I don't know how I got off on that tangent. Anyway, ask me something else.
Kevin Von Erich, we did a shoot with Kevin, and he told us that the newsletters blew a lot about their lifestyle out of proportion. Do you agree or disagree?
Well, I don't read all the newsletters. Back in the day, the Meltzer letter was the thing. That was the only thing for several years there.
Right.
And it would always get passed around the dressing room, and Kevin's Kevin. He's the last of the family.
I was just down in Texas 3 weeks ago, and he did a Piper's Pit for an indie promotion down there, and he brought his kid, who's like 17, to the ring. He looks exactly like Carrie.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah.
I've seen some pictures of his daughter. You seen his daughter?
Nah.
I heard about it. Isn't she a cheerleader?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
The kid's 17. He's jacked up already,
I don't know what to say.
and he's training.
Yeah. But when it gets in your blood, it's in your blood. Like,
is it true? Like, there's a thing on the internet saying that like the world class office, like when when David would die and Kerry would die, that they would forge David's autograph on all like 8x10s and stuff.
I never saw that.
No.
I personally never saw that. It's possible, but like I said, we weren't there when David died.
Mm-hmm.
Rick Rude and myself didn't come in until a year or so after that. So I don't know, and I never saw him forge any of the other boys' names.
TitleMatchNetwork.com